your skin, that shit is popping, girl. Body on 10, damn, you got it, girl. You gotta boss up. Getting them checks, living your best. Racks up. Oh, keep walking with confidence. Effortlessly, you let them know who is in command. You just that and more. Don't forget it. God worked hard on you for sure. Lexus Exodus. Shout out to my exes.
This is actually a really good question. You might want to ask your bald-headed mama what she would do. Me, myself, I would just either wear my hair curly, straight, put it in a ponytail, or a bun. Hope that answers your question.
Hello, guys. It is Lexus Exodus, leader of the Black Women Exodus. How are you all doing? Like always, if you enjoyed this content, please, on the way in, like and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Also, please say hello in the chat. Hey, chat, hey. Say what's up to me in the comment section. Also, if you have any ideas or any suggestions for videos, feel free to email that to me to my Gmail. It is lexusexoduschannel@gmail.com. Also, once you have a moment, please quickly pause the video and check out the backup page. It is called LexX. That's LEXEX, and you can also find the link in the description below. Special shout out to JM. She always sends me coffee money. Girl, you're so dope and I appreciate you. I went and got me a smoothie from Smoothie King this morning. I'm trying to clean up my diet sis. I've been indulging a little bit too much. So cleaning up my diet. So I went and got me a smoothie. So thank you so much, sis. I really, really appreciate that. You always support and it is greatly appreciated. Before we get started, let's do an Ask Lex letter where you guys can write into me and ask any questions or ask the audience for advice. This letter today, I am going to call her B. B writes, "Hi, Lexus. Firstly, I want to say that I love your channel and thank you so much for adding this segment. It's very much needed. I literally look forward to hearing your beautiful voice break down the latest Blackistan depravity every day and even hearing your little puppy snore." You guys are so funny. Y'all will not let me live about my dog. I kicked her out. She is no longer allowed in the recording studio, y'all. No longer. So anyway, so B says, I'm turning 30 this year. And after hearing your story, I realized that it's time for me to upgrade myself drastically, specifically in terms of getting my health in a better state physically. Technically, I'm obese, but I'm really tall, so I can hide it well. Mentally, seeking therapy, and financially looking into investing and earning more credentials so that I too can make six figures. My goal is by this time next year, I can start dating with confidence. I'm so proud of you, sis. Congratulations for deciding that, you want to begin that journey and really start focusing on your fitness and your mental health and physical health. That's awesome. You say, my issue is that I've never dated or had any form of intimate relationship with a man. I put the most effort into my education and career, but now I feel very inexperienced romantically. I love to get your and the audience's advice on how I could open my avenues to meeting quality men and how to date with the purpose of getting married. Or maybe I should be by myself more. All constructive advice is welcome. I hope you don't find this question to be too juvenile. Thank you in advance and have a lovely day. So B, again, I'm so excited to hear that you're deciding to improve yourself. It's very difficult, but I swear it's so worth it and it's totally feasible and attainable. You just got to be willing to put the work in, and it sounds like you are. So you say that you've never dated or had an intimate relationship with a man because your focus has been your education and your career. And now that you're about to turn 20, you're ready to meet men and you'd like to figure out how to date with the purpose of getting married. So first off, girl, I know you probably are not going to want to hear this, but you are doing amazing, sweetie. You are doing amazing. You are doing an incredible job. I always tell everyone that if I could do it over again and if life had a do-over, I totally wish I would have waited until my 30s to get married and to have children. And the reason why is just you're just not mature enough and don't have enough experience or life experience in your 20s to make those types of life altering, permanent life changing decisions like marriage and childbearing. So by me deciding to get married and have a child at the age of 23, I ended up getting knocked up by a dusty, by a narcissist, an a-hole who got me pregnant on purpose in order to trap me. And now, he's a narcissist, and now that we're no longer together, he's a deadbeat, and he still continues to consciously try to make my life a living hell daily. Every attempt he can still to this day. So you're doing awesome. I remember even before having kids and being in college, I remember telling a close friend of mine in my early 20s that I wanted to wait until I was 25 to have kids. And this stupid bitch told me that that was too old. And I'm not friends with that girl till today, and that was just one of several problematic behaviors that she illustrated. But that was normal, though. All around me in Blackistan, people were having kids that they couldn't afford. They were in relationships that were toxic and that they couldn't sustain. And they were popping out children, all just to raise them in a dysfunctional household, and to raise them improperly. So, people were looking at me crazy when I was 21, 22, talking about I wanted to wait until I was 25. And I'm thankful that I ended up course correcting, but I wish I could go back and do things like you did. And I bet if you ask the majority of the women in the chat who messed up like me and started families with these nicknames, that they would say the same. So I just want to commend you because you are doing awesome. You are doing awesome. I firmly believe that your 20s are for you to be selfish. So you can date if you want to in your 20s, but it is not for sacrifice. It's not a time for women to settle down. It isn't a time for you to start having children and to give up your life and your independence for a man and children. It just isn't. I firmly believe that your 20s as women, it's a time to travel. It's a time to explore the world and to establish yourself and to explore yourself, and to really find yourself and to have a good time and to enjoy life and to enjoy your independence. I think if I could tell my younger self in her 20s, I would tell her, become cultured, become more worldly, travel, establish yourself, educate yourself, grow and refine the woman that you ultimately want to be. So you are doing this well, my love. You are doing awesome. You asked if I think you need to be by yourself more. I don't think you need to unless you want to be. If you want to, that's fine. I'm a loner, so I'm an introvert by heart. I know I get on here and I have a very bubbly, very happy spirit, but I'm an introvert at heart, and I really do enjoy my alone time to the point where I still go out to eat by myself and I go to the movies by myself, and I have a whole husband and a whole kid, but I still just enjoy my alone time. And once I get a moment to kind of take a breather, I enjoy that. And I enjoy being able to center myself in my quiet time. But if you are wanting to date and you're thinking that it's time, for you to meet someone romantically, I think you should go for it. I totally think you should. I think you should dive right in and go for it, because you focused and you did the work. You buckled down and you made really great choices during your 20s. I know that you said you still wanted to make progression on earning six figures and fitness, but that's awesome. That's wonderful. I think that you can do that along with meeting people that you potentially might, want to pursue romantically right now. I do. And I think that it's natural as women, as we mature, to want to settle down and to find love. So I really think you should go for it. So you asked how to meet quality men. I think you can do a number of things. So first, I would really think about what you want. So I would list it out on paper, what you're looking for. Then just put yourself out there and put yourself in those settings where the kind of men that you're looking for would be. So let's say you wanted to meet someone accomplished and someone highly successful. Well, go where these professional, successful men are. My husband and I, we like to go when my son is with his father. We like to go on Fridays to this 5-star restaurant. And we'll sit down at the bar and enjoy a drink on Friday. And guess who we're surrounded by? Tons of eligible, extremely successful, highly accomplished bachelors who are single and looking. You guys know I watch a lot of Divested Zealot. She talks about how she was a nurse and she's currently married to a doctor. And bingo, I think that she's done it beautifully. That's how you do it. I don't think that she met her husband while working, but if you are a nurse or if you're in the healthcare industry, why not? You know, you're surrounded by several doctors, dentists, and all these healthcare providers, and rub elbows with those kinds of men daily. There you go. You know what I mean? Like, meet men that you're surrounded by every day, men that are in your industry. The peak pill. So I do disagree with some of the things that she says, but she has talked about how, she's met very accomplished, very highly successful men in a hotel lobby at the bar of a very nice establishment. There you go. Do that. Attending conferences and other events where, these high profile people, where they frequent, that's an easy way to meet these men. You also talk about specifically how to date with the purpose of marriage. I really do think if you have followed the steps of improving yourself and focusing on yourself, you've avoided the mistakes that we've all made and, avoided these dusties. If you're divesting, if you're dating single men who are educated and highly professional in their 30s, and you have that list of what you're looking for and you follow those guidelines, you are very, very likely to get married to a high quality male in no time. It's just inevitable. You sound like a great catch. I think it's just a matter of putting yourself out there. So, true high value men understand the importance of a wife and family. If you think about the most successful, the wealthiest men in the world, they all have wives and children. And they're not going to shrink you along because these men really do understand the value of that familial union. So as long as you're dating the right men, you'll be able to get married pretty easily. And I think you'll find what you're looking for. Also, I would encourage you, and I can't emphasize this enough because I know that you haven't dated much so far. Be sure that you don't settle for the first man that comes your way. Don't do it. Be ruthless, girl. Be ruthless. You can be very selective. You are professional. You have a lot of things going for yourself. You are educated. Cut these men off as soon as they do something that doesn't align with what you're looking for. So I'll use myself as an example. Okay, so, when I was dating, I reached out to one guy and hadn't heard back in a few days. And then he just pops up with no explanation in my text messages. Actually, I'm not interested. I'm going to keep it moving. Another guy, we had a date planned and he canceled last minute and apologized and wanted to reschedule. You know what? Actually, I'm not interested. You have a nice day. You know what I mean? Be very selective. Be very, very choosy. Explore your options. Date many men as you want to, and do not settle for anyone until you're sure, you're absolutely sure that they align with what you're looking for, and you'll be great. So that's my advice to you, B. I am interested in what you guys think in the chat, ladies, and in the comment section. Please share your thoughts and what you think as well. Okay, so here's another installment of my daily series called the Blackistan Zoo, where we profile the animals, Dusty, Derelicts, and Daquans in Blackistan. This series premieres Monday through Friday at 6:30 ET. Let's get it. So today we're going to talk about the educated lame, y'all. So shout out to, oh my gosh, this has to be one of my most highly requested videos. So I have a slew of people to give a shout out to for this suggestion. So shout out to Princess Jones who suggested this. Shout out to Pork Chops and Gravy. I love your name. It's made me hungry because I skipped lunch today. Shout out to Zia Tamayo, I think is how you pronounce your name. Shout out to Kellen Hart, Miss Hurricane, Kima Parks. I've had so many people suggest this as a topic, and I haven't done a video on this yet because, quite frankly, there aren't many educated Tyrones within the community, y'all. And I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm just being honest. There are very, very few men that are even educated to begin with to try to do a video on them. So I struggle to find examples of this, but we do know that during the rare occasion that, these fools do go out and get educated and try to, attain some semblance of success, they still manage to be very problematic. So here we go, your educated lame, y'all. So they are located in the mythical streets in the land of make-believe. That they are virtually non-existent. But when they are, their behavior, the mythical educated lame is very, very rare in their an educated professional, Tyrone, who typically is a unicorn. So he's very rare in that he's more financially established than most of these fools. He has a marginally successful career. So here's the catch with that though. So we know that the bar is set extremely low in Blackistan. It's in hell because Tyrones are very dusty typically. So statistically, most of these men are felons. They'll be broke. They're poor. They'll lack resources. They'll have a GED if you're lucky on a good day. So once you come across one that has a little semblance of success, I mean, it could be a mustard seed. This educated lame guy is worshipped. He's pedestalized despite the fact that his accomplishments are mediocre and are basic and are expected from other men in other communities. So the educated lame gets this huge head and gets gassed up and begins to think that he's the prize and that he's God's gift to this earth due to this worshiping. And so also I want to point out, it's important to note that Black women are also oftentimes condescendingly advised that, you need to date these men. You need to, stop dating Pookie and Ray Ray. You need to date your educated lame. But here's the thing. He tends to be just as bad and sometimes worse, oftentimes worse than these Pookies and Ray Rays because he's typically very problematic. So he tends to be very narcissistic because he's praised for doing mediocre things. Oftentimes he's a womanizer. He'll have, women all across the city will have secret families. We'll see him father many different children with different women like Nick Cannon. He's also he has major character flaws as well. And that's just because he's praised for the slightest accomplishments. So we'll see him, sometimes he's abusive. He can even times be sexually abusive, like Bill Cosby. And sometimes he's even abusive sexually and physically towards children. But he's able to get away with this problematic behavior. And Black women are encouraged to date him and to marry him because Blackistanians will still consider him one of the good ones, despite this toxic, nefarious, problematic behavior. So I want to show you guys this old post that went viral some time back of one of these educated lames touting about how he's the prize now that he's graduated law school. And you guys are probably familiar with this. Again, this is an old post that went viral and was circulating around the internet some time ago. But I think this is very, very fitting and is very important and really epitomizes the type of problematic character and behavior we talk about when talking about these lanes. So let's see. So here's this tweet. So this guy is talking about how he graduated law school. He has a big head and he tweets, when you're a Black male professional who is under 30 with 2 degrees, young and single, have no criminal record, no baby mama drama, and you're heterosexual, you're in a new category of men. I'm the prize now. Ew. And he also proceeds to write on Instagram, Black women don't want to deal with a Black man who's gay or on the down low, has baby mama issues, or has a felony conviction, record in jail, which collectively is a large percentage of our race, unfortunately. Statistically, 37% of these men are in jail, while a third of these men have some form of criminal record. With this massive criteria that Black women don't want when dating a Black man, they have essentially drastically limited the dating pool of viable men that majority of Black women are currently after, which means everyone doesn't get picked. and statistically 70% of Black women go unmarried. You see where I'm going here? You tell me who's the real prize here. My gosh, apparently graduating from law school doesn't require you to have strong grammatical and writing skills, because those were just a few horribly long run-on sentences. My gosh. Okay, so this is a mess. So where do we want to start? So let's start by telling how these Tyrones tell them themselves. So in this post, he agrees a lot about how these dudes are gay or on the down low. He talks about how they have baby mama issues, how they have felony conviction records, how they're in jail and prison. Actually, he says verbatim, because I don't want to misquote him. He says verbatim, these men are imprisoned and 37% of these men are in jail, while a third of these men have a criminal record and are losers. So how come when I say I'm a bad wench and I'm self-hating? These men double talk. So they'll say, yeah, we're dominated and we're being oppressed. But when I say it, I'm a hating bitch and they are actually kings. I'm lying. They'll say, hey, we need police reform because police brutality is a problem and we keep getting killed. But when I agree and I say, yeah, you're right, you guys are conquered and you get your asses beat and you're dominated, then I'm wrong. And they're the strongest, most powerful men on earth. They'll say, yeah, the community is made up of a bunch of single moms. Then when I say, yeah, you're right, y'all do pump and dump a lot and are deadbeats. No, you a stupid bitch, and we're the most involved parents on earth. So which is it? It's so weird. It's like you can't have it both ways. They want to agree with the stats when it benefits them and when it fits their narrative. But either it is or it isn't. You can't have it both ways, Tyrone. So anyway, so this dude really epitomizes the problematic nature of your so-called educated lame. Like he said, he's a self-described anomaly because statistically, this group of men are failures. So, and he hasn't even passed the bar, and he hasn't even actually become an attorney, and he's already bragging about being a prize. His degree is fresh off the press. It hasn't even cooled down yet from being off the printer. And it's like, don't get me wrong. I do think you should be happy about graduating and your accomplishments, but no, you don't get a gold star for completing college and doing something statistically that other groups of men do regularly. Like Black women are the highest, most highly educated groups of women in this country. We don't get gold stars for doing what we're supposed to do. But this is indicative of these men. These are the same guys who will brag and say, yeah, I got my own car, I got my own crib and a job. And it's like, yeah, Nick Nog, you 35 years old. You a grown-ass man. At the very least, you should have those things. I had all those things at the age of 18. But this is your typical educated lame, celebrating and relishing in mediocrity. So here's the thing. This post is about a year old. So I was curious about what this man had been up to since then and what he's accomplished. And I looked at his IG page, y'all, and y'all, it's a whole damn mess. So let's see. I'm gonna pull it up so you guys can see this. And actually, let me do this. Okay, so here's the page. Here he is. So he eventually did become an attorney and he eventually passed the bar. But here's the thing. Look at this post. Okay, do y'all see this? I'll give you a moment to read it. So this fool posted a post about him resolving a traffic ticket for one of his clients. Talking about it's dismissed. This post is someone got a traffic violation in traffic court for running a red light. And he's sitting here posting about how he got it dismissed. And it's just one of the many things that I do for my clients, is what he says. Do y'all see this? It's a whole damn mess. Here's another post I wanted you guys to look at, of him posting in front of a luxury vehicle. But then the caption says, oh yeah, this car is not mine. Here's another post of him talking about, so you've been ticketed. Let's talk about how we should act. Once we get tickets, lastly, I want to leave you with this. If a ticket is that important to you and you really want to dismiss, then our firm handles all types of ticket citations. Give us a call today. You don't see this shit. So I can't with this guy. Like, you done did all that. You done did all that bragging, all that boasting, just to be resolving traffic citations for a living. Okay? And it's like, but here's the thing, this is typical behavior of these fools. The collective accomplishments of these men, it's so mediocre, so lackluster that these dusties are bragging about resolving traffic citations. Okay. So we also briefly talked about how these fools get their heads so gassed up, and typically that they're enabled and coddled and get a pass, even though they display very flawed toxic behavior. So I wanted to show you guys some other examples of these educated lames and how they typically have one major character flaw. And trigger warning, these next few stories are about violence, some involving children. So again, like I always say, if you're sensitive to these subjects, you've been warned. So I want to look at this Dallas cop, this educated lame who has recently gotten busted for several nefarious, disgusting acts. So let's watch this.
Meanwhile, Dallas police officer arrested today, accused of sexually assaulting a child. Our Steve Pickett looking into that investigation.
Tyrone Williams Jr., a 12-year veteran officer with Dallas police, remains held inside Loose Sterrett Jail. Deputies, according to records released this afternoon, arrested Williams this morning. The charge, sexual assault of a child. Records indicate that alleged offense occurred May 22nd. DPD officials declining to detail the claim against Williams, saying due to the incident involving a child, we will not be disclosing any further information. Williams has been placed on administrative leave with the department. No bond has been set, so he remains in custody. In Dallas, Steve Pickett, CBS 11 News.
Okay. And let me see if I can put his picture back up. Here he
Sexual
is.
assault of a child.
We'll pause it right there. This makes no sense. And I think this one, was this a news story or what was this? I think this was maybe a news article that accompanied this. Okay. So it talks about how he was jailed recently, and it talks about how he's friends with the girl's parents, and the girl went to his South Oak Cliff home in May after she had an argument with her father. According to the affidavit, around May 22nd, the girl was sleeping in Williams' daughter's bedroom when he inappropriately touched her while his daughter was not home. The girl, whose age was not released, said Williams was sitting on the bed and stroking her thighs. Yuck. When she woke up, according to the warrant, she told authorities she asked him what he was doing, and he said, shh, according to the warrant. The girl went back to sleep and woke up again with him on top of her as he rubbed up against her. She said it was very painful, according to the warrant. Yikes. Oh, y'all, when Williams asked the girl whether she liked it, she started to cry and pushed him until she broke free and locked herself in the bathroom. On another occasion, though, the girl said she was afraid to return to Williams' home. Her mother sent her there after they had an argument. Y'all, after the girl left Williams' home, she went to the apartment where her boyfriend lived with his mother and stayed there about 2.5 weeks. During that time, she told her boyfriend's mother what Williams did to her. The warrant doesn't say whether the boyfriend's mother notified authorities. Oh, gosh. Yikes. Okay, detectives obtained a warrant to arrest Williams on Friday. He was booked. It was released the same day with bail set at $25,000. He remains on administrative leave while an investigation is conducted. He's been with the police department since March 2009 and was assigned to the South Central Patrol Division. Y'all, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. So I just don't understand how this happened. So before we get into this nefarious, disgusting behavior that this fool displayed, let's talk about the girl and her family. So it says the girl got into an argument with her dad, so they sent her to this dude's house because he's a family friend, and then he sexually assaulted her. Then it says, even though the girl says she was afraid to return to his home, her mother sent her anyway after they had an argument. What the F? I don't understand why anyone would do this. We gotta be better about protecting our children, y'all. Even when we're angry with them and they're acting out, we can't just leave them out for the wolves like that. Sheesh. So anyways, this educated lame, this police officer who we are told as Black women that we need to choose, he's a pedo, and he ended up sexually abusing this poor girl. But this is your educated lane. This is a unicorn that's supposed to be God's gift to the earth, and this is who you guys should be choosing to marry. Y'all. So let's get into this last story about another educated lame who terrorized his wife in Scottsdale, Arizona, and also went on a very cruel M-wording spree, the killing spree, after she decided to leave him. So shout out to Bella Babe for sharing this story with me. Again, if you guys have any tips or suggestions for any stories, you guys can send that to my email. It's lexusexoduschannel@gmail.com. So I want to pull up this story that she shared. And this guy was an educated lame. He was actually formerly, he was in the Army. He was an Army veteran. So he's another one of those so-called educated lames that, will be encouraged to marry. I'm sure they encouraged this woman to marry him simply because he was in the Army, because we know that makes him a good man. And he left up and married a doctor here who was way out of his league. You can see this woman is absolutely gorgeous. She's educated and she's an MD. So she's a highly respected professional. And this story talks about how, this man started to abuse her and he became very violent with her. So she divorced him. So let's get more in depth into this story so we can kind of get into, here we go. So here's the educated lame and his mugshot. So it says, Jones, the wife, began the divorce proceedings in 2009 following several violent incidents. Dwight had changed over time, she said, morphing from a helpful to a neglectful parent and from a decent man to a controlling and abusive partner. He seemed depressed and changed his appearance, sometimes sporting a beard. After the bitter divorce and fight over custody of their son, Jones said that Dwight became her personal terrorist. So see, you guys, this doctor is calling him her personal terrorist. Remember, I just did a video this week about how these fools are domestic terrorists. Even the doctor's saying that. So it says that he moved into the extended stay hotel in Scottsdale, where he would later be found dead, and stayed for 9 years, waiting like a spider for a chance to M-word his wife. Dwight repeatedly told Connie that he would M-word her, she said, but he offered other fates too. He threatened to take their son to Mexico forever. He said he would M-word her and their son, them M-word himself. And he said he might just M-word their son to torture her for the rest of her life. Yikes. Okay. Then it says a judge gave Dwight Jones visitation rights, even though he was a proven danger. This woman said, see y'all. And I told you guys, this is very, I'll get a lot of folks who will come to my comment section and will ask me, you need to, if your ex is a narcissist, you need to go to court and, fight to, make sure that you have primary custody. Been there, done that. We racked up a $40,000 legal bill, all for them just to recommend that things stay the same. And they recommended that this fool have visitation rights, although he's a clear sociopath. He's a psychopath. He has previous documented behavior of abusing her. They still gave him visitation rights. So it says that he tried to abduct the boy during one of the visitations. That caused the court to modify the terms and require supervised visits for him, and he had to pay $250 a month. So he had to, it got so bad that he had to kidnap the boy for them to do something. And even then they still said recommended supervised visits. This is how sad our legal system is. So when these men like to troll and talk about, oh, the court systems favor the mothers, that's not true. That's not true, because in this instance, this woman is a highly distinguished, highly paid, well-respected professional. She has her ish together. She is by any means a very, very high value woman, and is about her business. And still in this case, they allowed visitation rights to an abusive, psychopathic narcissist. So it goes on to say that this man had plenty of Dr. Jones money, though. Dwight Jones couldn't hold on to a steady job after his 3 years in the Army. Connie Jones said he always quit jobs after 1 week, often complaining that he was being disrespected. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard that too. If you've heard that as well. I've experienced that verbatim. This fool, my ex, used to walk off jobs left and right because he was quote unquote disrespected, because he didn't like how they were talking to them. And I'm like, look, fool, I understand you don't like how this person is talking to you, but the landlord don't give a damn about that. Well, we got to write these checks to pay the rent. They don't give a shit about how somebody talked to you. That's not going to pay our bills. Anyway, so then it says, in the divorce, his ex-wife explained Dwight Jones received payments of $6,000 a month for 5 years. $97,000 from a checking account, $131,000 from retirement accounts, and $50,000 from their boys' college savings account and other payments. Sheesh. So not only did this man drain her mentally and physically harm her, he also drained her financially and drained her bank accounts. $6,000 a month for 5 years? This fool was living the life. No wonder he was able to afford to live in an extended stay hotel for so long. Then he got, over $200,000 just in their lump sums from their accounts, their savings accounts. That's crazy. Yikes. So it also says that he had no friends, no other obligations. He could wait years if necessary for her to let her guard down. It talks about how she hired security and how the family had to change its schedules frequently and gave up going to their favorite places, knowing that Dwight Jones might look for them there. That is so sad. That's crazy. This is crazy. So it gets worse. So he displays and illustrates all this problematic, abusive, dangerous, and harmful behavior. But even then, no one does anything to protect her, because we know these educated lames, they're a protected class. So they can do whatever they want to. They have to, you have to walk around with a black eye or something in order for them to react or to do anything. And I take that back, because I read another news story saying that she was injured and that it was documented several times, and they still did nothing. They still granted this man visitation rights. Okay, so I want to share this brief news clip that details what happened when he finally lost it and when he finally snapped.
Over his 20-year marriage, Dwight Jones was accused of physically abusing his wife, Connie Jones, countless times, including one incident back in 2007 where he fractured her sternum. This, according to the couple's
See, he fractured her
records.
sternum.
The breaking
And she
point
still
appeared to come a couple of years
had
later,
no protection.
back in 2009, when Jones attacked his then-wife in front of their young child, backing the mother into a wall, pushing and hitting her in the face with his forearm. That night, according to court records, Jones also threatened to kill his wife, saying police would find her at the bottom of the pool. The incident prompted the courts to grant the wife an order of protection against her husband. It was during the extensive divorce proceedings when Dwight Jones met the first victim of the Scottsdale killing spree, the renowned forensic psychiatrist Stephen Pitt. After evaluating Jones, Pitt testified in the Jones divorce case that the father has anxiety disorder, mood disorder, and features of an antisocial, narcissistic, and paranoid personality.
What I tell y'all.
Pitt also
These fools are
testified that Dwight
narcissists.
Jones poses a high risk to perpetrate violence toward mother, the minor child, and or himself. The court eventually granted the divorce in November 2010, but the ex-wife never felt secure. According to court records, she renewed the order of protection for several years after the divorce was granted, an order that prevented him from getting near her and for possessing a gun. And we spent hours poring over these divorce records right here. It is extensive. It is exhaustive. They also show that Mr. Jones had been institutionalized against his will for evaluation, and during most of the marriage that he did not work, did not contribute much in terms of financial support and that continued even after they had granted him that divorce.
Lord Jesus. Okay, so... I'm sorry.
From the
Let me
Hollywood
stop
Walk
this.
of Fame, a horrifying.
So this man harassed this woman, ended up terrorizing her, threatening her, physically assaulted her. No one listened, and then he ended up taking the lives of her attorneys, of the paralegals involved, and the psychiatrist who was involved in this case, and several others. This woman and her son is lucky to be alive, y'all. They're lucky to be alive because he talked about vocally how he was going to end their life and an M-word / S-word. Words that rhyme with merger and parasite. Hopefully you guys can understand what I'm saying. I don't want to say any words that might trigger, YouTube to say that this is inappropriate. So anyways, this is your educated lame, y'all. This is who you were taught since birth to aspire to be with, you guys. This is the pinnacle of Black excellence. This is goals. This is relationship goals. Because in this community, we know that these men are collectively the world's biggest losers. So they're all statistically imprisoned, impoverished. They're all dusty baby mama makers. They're all broke, busted, and disgusted. And you're supposed to date, the ones who experience a very small semblance of success, even if it's very mediocre in comparison to what other groups of men do. Even if they're psychopaths, even if they're sociopaths, even if you're doing better than them. And in this case, you could be a damn MD. Even in that case, even in that scenario, you need to thank your lucky stars and be happy that the educated lame chose you to marry. Y'all. And this is why I'll encourage you to stay away from all these fools. Because this is the best that Blackistan has to offer. Because like you see here in this story, typically they're just as bad, oftentimes even worse than your Pookie and Ray Ray. Because at least Pookie and Ray Ray, they're not going to give, no qualms about it. They going to tell you straight up, I'm a dog and I'm not going to pretend like I'm shit. But here's the thing with the educated lame. He actually drinks the Kool-Aid because he's worshipped. He's worshipped and he's gassed up in this community to truly believe that he's God's gift to women. So he really believes that he's a good man, no matter if he cheats on you. He could beat you in extreme cases like the ones we just watched. He can sexually assault children or try to N-word you and your child. Stay away from the educated lame. I'm very vocal about how my ex is one. He is a social worker, for God's sake, and is supposed to be helping women recover from battered shelters and abusive situations. All the while, he beat my ass behind closed doors. And still, you cannot tell his family or anyone otherwise how good of a man he is. So stay far, far, far away from this, ladies. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy yourself. Until next time, see you guys. Bye.
fellas, if y'all come across a red iPhone, can you please bring it to the sound stage? Red iPhone, appreciate it.